Last Saturday saw us down in the wonderful county of Essex at the South Woodham Ferrers parkrun.
This was a new parkrun for us and attracts around 100 runners per week.
There's ample free parking at the nearby Marsh Farm, where you can also sit on an unfeasibly large chair and pose for pictures.
It was a beautiful May morning, the sort of morning that makes you glad to be alive.
And also glad we've chosen to do this parkrun in such good weather because, as you'll see, it's a multi-terrain course. So after listening to the run director's final instructions, it was time for the off. So yes, we're down in Essex for a long weekend and we've got a 10-mile race entered for the Monday. So the idea here was just to enjoy running a new parkrun and to meet up with one of our coached athletes, Natalie, and her husband, Tim.
And as we can see, I've gone into second place, or second female place actually, in the run.
Yes, steady on. I do remember you did finish second place once in Sewerby many years ago, and do you remember who was first? Actually, in retrospect, I'd let you take the win for the stats. We'd also been on the Parkrun 5k app and noted that the female 60 to 64 record on this course stood at 23:35. So if there was a chance of Dawn going for it, I was going to make sure that she had a chance of taking that record.
So a lovely scenic start to our run. We have the River Crouch on our right, and as you can see, lots of wonderful yachts.
Yes, it's a little known fact that Essex has the second most miles of coastline of any county in the UK, just behind Cornwall.
Initially the path was very narrow and difficult to overtake, although you can see you can do it with caution, as this guy has just done to me.
Yeah, we're advised at the first timers briefing that this section would last about half a mile and then it opens up and it's easier to overtake.
This is a mixed terrain course. You have everything from compact dirt, compact gravel, I think a little bit of concrete, grass, and it can be uneven underfoot. Today we were blessed with lovely weather and dry conditions, but I would imagine on a wet day you would need trail shoes on this terrain.
Yeah, it's a good one. If you did it regularly, you'd certainly get lots of strengthening of those ankle and knee tendons. So you can see we've just been taken off the wall path there and we're onto a nice grassy section. Overall, the course is reasonably flat. There's just a couple of declines and ascents, but they only last a few yards. So yeah, nice and flat, and you can get into a good rhythm whilst building strength in those legs.
However, I would say this is not the type of course where you switch off and you just run without thinking about what you're running on. I found myself constantly looking down because there were a few sections where you could quite easily trip yourself up. And if anybody's going to go down, it'll be me.
Excuse me, it'll be me, because I've actually fallen over at 5 different parkrun venues. Beat that. In fact, how many people have fallen down at parkrun venues and how many can anybody beat 5? That's in 625 runs after today. No, I didn't fall down today, but yeah, it's generally when it's a little bit wet and slippy, I tend to go over.
Yes, but I have fallen on an indoor track and an outdoor track.
Well, let's hope there's no falling down the next time you're on a track, which will be actually a cycle track representing England Masters at Shrewsbury in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, big news in this household was that Dawn was selected to run 5k for England Masters in the competition against Welsh Masters, so well done, Dawn. My favourite bit of the course is, as you can see, it's concrete underneath. There's a little bit of grass poking through, but you can get a good solid firm run. Now, I had anticipated coming back this way on the way back, but it wasn't to be because you do a loop before returning on the final half mile. But yeah, we're running nice speed, and the first mile clocked in at 7:31. Now, I calculated about 7:30 per mile plus a big finish at the end to break that female 60 course record of 23:35. So we're on pace so far.
Is that the course record that I didn't even know I was going for?
Yep, got to keep that content rolling in and uploaded to YouTube. I would have gone for the Vet 55 course record, but I'd have probably fallen about 2 minutes short, so it's all down to you.
Maybe not. There was nothing stopping you going for the Vet 55 win on the day?
Indeed not, of which more later. But as you can see, as it's your race to get the record, I just let you go in front there. Come on, we need to get you on screen now.
Hang on a minute, I'm not racing, I'm having a time trial. Remember, parkrun is not a race.
I think people weren't particularly bothered what parkrun was to anybody else until the stats fiasco of last year. But putting the shape-shifting of parkrun HQ to one side, yeah, parkrun is whatever it is to whatever you want it to be. So yeah, it is actually a time trial because you are racing against the time rather than trying to beat the lady in front who remains in sight but always a bit out of reach on this particular run.
I'm also racing on Monday, remember, 10 miles, so I was actually trying to keep something in reserve as I don't want to go into that race so leg heavy that I have an awful time.
So it's bye-bye concrete and it's hello to this rough grass section, and I'm having to concentrate to keep my footing here. I did have a few opportunities to enjoy the scenery to the left and the right, the marshes of Essex and the River Crouch, but between looking at my watch, look at where my feet were falling, I would like to come back here and maybe just be able to enjoy the scenery a bit more on another occasion. So thoroughly enjoying today. There goes today's winner. Well done, sir. Just passing by on the other direction. So yeah, absolutely new parkrun for us, and we're so glad we came here. One of the best things about parkrun for us is all the wonderfully different places across the UK that we get to visit and run round. I think this is about my 292nd different parkrun venue, so hopefully get to 300 later in the year. Yeah, what lovely surroundings. You can see the River Crouch to the left, all the marshland, all the scenery and all the wildlife.
It's been a glorious week of weather in the UK. It's actually a little bit of a heat wave. Oh, there we go. We're just turning around to go back to the finish.
As you can see, Dawn flies down there. I gingerly make my way down because I don't want any mishaps, and she's gone past the fella in front with the dog, and I'll just have to work hard to try and catch her and keep her on camera as part of this female 60 course record attempt. Nothing like Vicar Water though a few weeks ago, where I lost sight of it in the final kilometre because it was a massive downhill in the mud. Today we've got flat, dry trail. Good section of the route this. You can see everybody going back the other way, and there we wave to Natalie, our coachee.
Yes, she's been making fantastic improvements lately as she works towards her goals.
Yes, we offer individual bespoke coaching for runners of all abilities and from all backgrounds. So if you are interested in being coached by us, please find this Facebook page.
Or drop us an email on the email address below.
So at this point, the Insta360 gave out after 15 minutes of coverage. It's something we've noticed happening on other YouTube channels. I see Crown My Run has been plagued by missing those lovely grunts and pants at the finish line from D Mills and his brothers. And Tim Gross's camera ran out after about 8 minutes of a parkrun the other day. I'm not quite sure what's going on because it was clear. Anyway, luckily I had the GoPro with me in my hand. So the last part of this run is going to be from GoPro. At the minute it's fairly stable, but when we get near the end there might be a little bit of rocking and rolling. But what was being consistent was the pacing. Mile 2, 7:36, a little bit slower than we planned, but there had been quite a few off-road sections and tricky bits underfoot. So I was looking forward to getting back onto that concrete section. Unfortunately, it never came, so we had to ramp up the effort a bit there. I think we would have gone back on the concrete section if we'd gone straight on. But oh no, we've been diverted off onto this uneven, rocky path.
Not my favourite surface. You can see that I'm sort of weaving a little bit here as I try to find my feet and try to find the best bit of surface to run on.
So South Woodham Ferrers, where the parkrun takes place, is a relatively new town. It really grew up a lot after the 1880s and the railway coming to the town. Very pleasant visit there, and it's a great part of Essex to explore afterwards, as we did. You can see Dawn going from left to right, trying to find the best bit of footing on this particular part of the course. Now I've got the double job of filming her with a steady hand and not rocking the camera around too much, and looking at where my feet are about to go, so don't end up in that ditch to our left-hand side.
I was looking forward to this section to end so I could open up again, because I did actually feel a little bit unstable at times.
Well, there's no wonder, because if you look, the land is tilting massively to the left now. There must have been an earthquake in the area in the last few seconds. Either that or I've got the camera on a different angle on my wrist.
We're just about to negotiate the only significant slope on the course.
As you can see, it's nothing to trouble the scorers, and then we turn right and we are on another path, slightly more compacted gravel this time as we head back towards the finish. Lovely views of the river to the left. And as I'm monitoring the time, I know we're just about on pace for this course record, but I know we can't have any let up, and I'm worried that Dawn's legs might be getting tired, but just keeping the course record within range, and I know she's got an awesome sprint if one is needed towards the end.
Yes, I do have a sprint, but on this occasion I really don't want to use it. I am racing on Monday, it's 10 miles, and I'm keeping that in mind as I'm making my way along this final part of the course. Maybe I could have asked this fella to loan me his dog so he could pull me to the finish.
But would that really be the record then, if it was dog assisted?
Probably not, but who would know? It's parkrun after all.
Who would know? Well, only everybody watching this video.
Actually, I wouldn't claim a record if I was dog assisted. I would actually say at the end so that my name was not added to that list.
Yeah, many moons ago, before Statsgate, Eggate and every other gate you can think of associated with parkrun, there was Doggate and Canny Crossgate. Big controversy maybe 15 years ago about dog assisted runs and their status on records. Anyway, enough of that. Everybody's enjoying their parkrun this morning. And we're just trying to squeeze past the fellow with the dog on this narrow bit of path to keep Dawn on pace for that record. You probably can't see it on screen, but we can see the finish area in the distance just past the yachting club. And yeah, the fellow with the dog has come back for another bite of the cherry. I think he's going for a PB and did actually achieve one. So well done to you, sir. So we just need to lock into our own pace and use the course to drag Dawn along. As also, as you can see, people walking along this lovely stretch of Essex coastline on this beautiful May morning.
As we're approaching the final section of the course, I asked John if it was on. He said, yes, it's on. So I knew I didn't have to have that sprint on this occasion.
Yes, to paraphrase another of our favourite YouTube channels, it's on, Dawn, it's on. Yeah, just rounding along into the finish area, so I've got myself ahead of Dawn so I can take these shots of her coming in. We just bend round into the right into this car park, and then the finish is just a few yards away from where we started. So there we go, just off the track into the finish area, and Dawn finishing a time of
23:12, so well within the record.
That time also got the best age grading on the day of around 83%. And another record that stood intact was my streak of, since I've turned 55, every parkrun we've done, I've managed to finish first in my age category. Now technically I was second in my age category today, but the person in my age category in front of me was dog assisted. So what do you think there? Can I claim that as the age group win, or should I graciously accept second? I know what rules apply in my head. But joking aside, what a wonderful parkrun. Thank you to all the volunteers and marshals who put it on today. You're not the fastest course in the UK, in fact actually the 534th fastest course in the UK according to Tim Gross's ranking list.
And a massive well done to Natalie, her fastest time on this course since 2021.
Yep, things going well, we all must be getting something right. I'm sure this fella at Marsh Farm agrees. So we hope you've enjoyed this visit to Essex with us for our latest parkrun. If you have, please give this video a like, and if you'd like to see where we are next week and subsequent weeks, then please subscribe to the channel. So until next time, keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.